Welcome to Take Charge with Dr. Chichi, where nurses take control, break barriers, and build a future of financial freedom and career success. Whether you're burned out, ready to level up, or looking for the blueprint to thrive, you're in the right place. It's time to lead, grow, and win because your future starts now. Here's your host, Dr. Chichi.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the first episode of Take Charge with Dr. Chichi. This is your friend, Dr. Chichi. Welcome to this episode on how it all began. Time for breakthrough. Why is this show Take Charge with Dr. Chichi? Because it signals leadership, confidence, and action. I remember clearly the day I completed my final exam, nursing exam in 1990 in Nigeria. I can't believe this is my 35th year as a nurse. Time flies. I have my master's in nursing and healthcare informatics and a doctoral degree in educational leadership. I've also worked in several nursing specialties, and I can tell you that the past 35 years as a nurse have been rewarding. However, some of the 35 years have not been easy. I've experienced several episodes of burnout in my nursing career, and it's time to create awareness about burnout and implore nurses or any healthcare worker watching to take charge of their life. Nursing is a rewarding yet demanding profession that requires physical, emotional, mental, endurance, balancing career development with personal well-being and financial stability is essential for a long, fulfilling career. Burnout is common among healthcare workers, especially nurses, due to long hours, emotional strain, and physical exhaustion. An article published by nursingworld.org that presented it was an article, and they had a survey, and they said in 2020 on that survey showed that almost two-thirds of nurses, which is about 62%, experienced burnout. And then CDC also reported in 2022 that 46% of healthcare workers reported feeling burnt out compared to 32% in 2018. So an article published by Galanis et al. In 2023 conducted a cross-functional study with 1,760 healthcare workers in June 2023, and 91.1% of nurses experienced high level of burnout, and 61.0% of nurses experienced low levels of just job satisfaction. So in my long nursing career, I've experienced different episodes of burnout. And finally, I took charge. I decided to take charge. And I know you will too. So what is burnout? So an article by Luke Bowles in betternurse.org described burnout as a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged exposure to stress. And then World Health Organization, too, in their publication in 2019, titled Burned Out on Occupational Phenomena, International Classification of Diseases, presented, and I quote, "Burnout is a syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workforce stress that has not been successfully managed. It is characterized by three dimensions, and the three dimensions that they presented were feeling of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, or feeling of negativism, cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. Burnout is real, people. So if you're watching this show right now and you have experienced burnout, type in on the comment, burnout is real. Burnout is real. It steals your joy, your purpose, and your peace. It's waking up and deciding, dreading a life you used to love. It's questioning everything you want, questioning everything that you've loved, your work, your relationship, or even your what. I would describe burnout as a slow unraveling of your spirit. I decided to take charge, people. I decided to take charge. You don't wish burnout experience on your worst enemy because it is not pleasant. It is not pleasant at all. Several times I've found myself in that situation and I discovered ways to get myself out of it. And that's by God's grace, because it could have been worse. It could have been worse. So based on my experience, I have supported and helped my co-workers and friends experiencing burnout. And some of them, or most of the time when they recover, they come back to me and they tell me and thank me for giving them support and helping them overcome their burnout. So after most of my friends or my co-workers have come to me and thanked me for or appreciated me for supporting and helping them, I figured it's time for me to have a platform where nurses and healthcare professionals can come and share their burnout experiences, how they handled it, and how they were able to take care of it and how they were able to get financial breakthrough and how they took charge of their life. Because most of the time, it's financial commitments and family responsibilities that keep people hanging around the same environment that is trying to break them. Nurses work extra hours. They put in sometimes some work 7 days a week, just trying to get that money to support their family and take care of their responsibility. And some have financial student loans and other financial commitments. Some work hard to repay loans. And the funny thing is that the interest rate keeps on rising, and that's not a joke. And they still have to work to take care of those responsibility. And I was reviewing an article, and that article is titled "The Impact of Financial Stress on Performance," and is written by Rose Charmaine in 2018. And she presented that 20% of nurses have more than one employer, right? And they often work full-time in two settings. And most of the time it's due to financial needs. Of course, we all know that financial stress and debt can have a significant impact on work performance. And the Society of Human Resources Management in their research presented that with financial stress and debt, healthcare and productivity suffer. In their research, it was indicated that less than 50% of workforce are savvy about their finances, and that people reported high level of stress more than 4 times likely. They suffer from symptoms of fatigue, headache, depression, or any other ailments, and are likely to report poor health overall, leading to more sick days, increased absenteeism, decreased productivity, of course, which is burnout, basically. So I'm speaking to someone, I hope I'm speaking to someone right now. Some nurses, after retiring, I just had to mention this. Some nurses, after retiring, go back to the same work again just because of financial issues. So my thought was that maybe nurses work so hard or work all the time that they never made out time to plan for retirement. So financial education is very important. Financial education is very important, and we need it. On this show, we will present stories and strategies that will help you with mindset shift for your freedom journey. So the mission of this podcast or this show is to empower nurses or anyone listening to take charge of their lives and reclaim their power emotionally, financially, and professionally through stories, education, and real conversations. And the goal will be to educate nurses on financial growth, providing burnout recovery tools, and highlight nurse-led leadership and entrepreneurship, and guide career reinvention and build a supportive nurse-centered community. The objective will be to have weekly episodes with action steps. And then we're going to have diverse guest interviews and promote clarity calls and also downloadable resources to help you, right? So we'll make sure we present stories and strategies. That's very, very important. You're going to hear real people's story that will help you take charge of your life. So share this episode and upcoming episode with your friends and family, right? If you have any questions or you need more information, email me at takechargewithdrchichi@gmail.com. Take charge with drchichi@gmail.com. We're going to have a community where we can all come together to share our experiences and also learn, right? I've been reading a lot of books lately, and I'm telling you, reading is powerful. There's power in reading. So I read two books lately that truly inspired me, and they were The Letdown Theory and The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robinson. And after reading these books, I'm telling you, I was ready to move. I was ready to move. So when I had that push in me to start this show, while I was driving back from work one day, something in me said, call Michael Ogbonna. And I called Michael and I said, Mikey, something just popped in my head. And he said, what, Auntie? I told him, you are the first person I'm sharing this with. And he said, what, Auntie? So he told me, when he asked me what it was, I told him, look, something just popped in my head. I said, I've been a nurse for 35 years, and not just a nurse for 35 years. I have a wealth of experience, and I've helped a lot of nurses with that had issues with burnout. And I think that based on my experience and the help and assistance that I've given to people, that I need a platform now that I can go out and help nurses overcome their burnout. And I am also an independent licensed professional. And most of the time, like I mentioned, people have issues. Financial issues are the main thing that keep people to keep on repeating the same thing and stay in an environment that is making them be burned out. So I told him that I am going out on a crusade of no nurse left behind or no healthcare worker left behind, right? So that people can take charge of their life. So I told him that. He said, Auntie, do it. Auntie, do it. And he said, just do it, Auntie. And guess what he did? He gave me some tips on what to do. And he said, call me anytime and let me know any way I can help. There's this quote that says sometimes the vision lives inside you, but it takes someone speaking life into it for you to truly begin. And Michael Ogbonna did that. He has been there. Whenever I call him, he answers. And I am so pleased to have him on this show. I am excited that Michael Ogbonna made it to the show. I told him he was going to be the first to come here to share the story on how it all began, so he can encourage other people to take charge of their life too. That's exactly what Michael did. He has been there for me. I have the honor of having him as the first guest of Take Charge with Dr. Chichi for that person who needs that kick to start what they have had in mind. I want you to listen and just do it. I have Dr. Michael Ogbonna, PharmD. I have the honor of getting him here. He's a very busy person, right? So today's guest is Michael, a second year medical student, a pharmacist. He said former pharmacist, but he's still a pharmacist, published author. He's passionate about gastroenterology, entrepreneurship, and helping students thrive both academically and spiritually. He's married to his wife, Shannon, recently published a book to help college students grow their relationship with God. He is the host of From D to MD YouTube series and A Day in the Life of Augie podcast. This young man inspires me. Welcome, Michael. Welcome, Mr. Michael.
Thank you, Auntie, or should I say Dr. Chichi.
Whatever
Doctor,
makes you happy.
thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so what went through your mind the day I called and told you I want to start a podcast, Michael?
I was excited because I've been on my own journey of I've been doing podcasting and YouTubing for a while. And so whenever I hear someone that has something in their heart to share, I always like to encourage them and give them that inspiration to do it because I think that more people should do it. And I'm really happy that um, we talked that day and that you ended up starting what we're doing today.
Wow. You know, you immediately offered your support. Why did you say, call me anytime?
Oh yeah, because
That was the big energy, the big push I had. So why did you say, call me anytime, Michael?
yeah, no, I just know that sometimes when you start to do these new things, you have a lot of questions and you don't really know who to ask. And I just wanted to make myself available because I know for me, I had a lot of questions, but I had to figure it out on my own. But when when I since I've already done it a little bit, I kind of know how some of these things work. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've tried it and been doing it for a while. So I knew that if you had any questions and I wanted to make myself available for you if you
Okay.
hadn't.
Did you just say you're not an expert? I see you as one because it's a bunch of stuff that you've taught me that I don't even know about. So I consider you an expert, okay?
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
So let me ask you a question. So why do you think this message is so important for nurses or anyone listening right now?
Yeah, no, I think this message is very important because, like you were saying, a lot of nurses, they have a good heart. They go into nursing wanting to help people and just serve people, but then the whatever it is, whether it's the hours or whatever, gets them burnt out and they lose that spark or that passion that they first had. And so you starting this podcast, take charge and empowering people to take back their life that they feel like they maybe feel like they're in a prison and they've lost all the freedom that they've had. You are in starting a program or and starting a platform to inspire people to essentially dream again. You know, the vision that you had when you first wanted to become a nurse, the freedom that you envisioned, you're essentially going to bring that back by teaching people how to, you know, manage your stress and be financially free, all these things. I think this is going to be great to help them. And I think it is very needed in a time when many nurses are very burnt out.
All right, that's good. Thank you so much. And then from your perspective, what role do you believe uh, visions and mentorship play in professional growth?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that mentorship is very important because you can try to figure things out on your own, but it takes longer, right? Whenever you can get a good mentor that has done what you want to do, has been where you want to go, they can help accelerate where you want to go, right?
Yeah,
And
we do.
there's a lot of people that want to be mentors, but they haven't done anything, right?
Mhm.
But someone like you, Auntie, you've been a nurse for what'd you say, 35
35
35
years.
years. I mean, that's a lot of experience. There's a lot of people that don't even make it past 5 years, let alone 35 years. And to still be going is a sign like that, as if I was a nurse, I would want to learn from you. And I think that there's something that you could teach me that would save me, that what you had to learn in 30 years I can learn in a year, or even less. I can learn it so much more quickly. And so
Yep.
that's why I value mentorship, and I've sought mentorship out, whether I had to seek it out, or I even had to pay for it in some instances, and willing to invest in it. I don't see it as a payment, I see it as an investment, because I know that a mentor will help accelerate my growth.
Wow, that's good. So you've worked in pharmacy for so many years, and
Not so many, only like 2.5.
oh, that's quite a while though, too. Some people didn't get to do that. But now you're a medical student, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how have you seen burnout or underutilized potential show up in the health space?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Auntie. And I think that especially as a pharmacist, I worked in the retail side, and it is very easy for pharmacists to get burnt out, especially in retail, because they're making pharmacists do much more, giving them less staff, and
Hmm.
cutting hours, and just all types of things. And it really just, you become overwhelmed. You have all these metrics you're trying to meet, you have all these things that you're being told to do. And then on top of that, you want to be a good pharmacist, and you want to provide good patient care, but then you don't even have time to talk to patients. And so you lose, really, sometimes you just lose the real reason why you went into healthcare. You start to lose it because of how busy and everything. And so I've saw it firsthand as a pharmacist. And honestly, even as I'm in medical school right now, even physicians, there's a lot of physicians that are burnt out, whether it's because of bureaucracy in the hospital, or insurance, dealing with insurance. All these things can steal the joy out of physicians. And so it is important that we learn how to navigate it, whether it's managing our stress, but also, not being tied down financially. Like,
Hmm.
learn how to find ways to where we don't have to be completely dependent on our job to to have money, like, where we can't leave our job if we don't if we want if even if we want to leave our job, we can't, because we're trapped. you
Yes.
know Learning to have we need to learn strategies of developing financial freedom, so that we can do what we want to do when we want
Wow, you're making a lot of point there.
it.
So what would you say to someone who has a vision but is afraid to start?
I think that your fear, everyone has a fear. The people that you see that are doing big things, they were scared. They probably are still scared. But every person has to make a decision. You just got to do it. And that's why I encourage Auntie, just do it. And if
Do
you're
it.
watching this and you have something, if, like, maybe this episode is inspiring you, and you have all these ideas that are coming in your head now. Um, this is exactly why Auntie is making this podcast, take charge, because she wants to inspire you to take that leap and do what you've always felt to do. And if you're a little scared, it's okay. Once you take that leap, you will start to get more confident. Even if you don't, if even if you feel like you're not prepared to start, you can even just start. And as you go, you'll get better. And so I would encourage you, if you're watching this, you have something that you want to do, I would encourage you to take charge and do it.
Wow. I like that. I like that. Do it. I like that. It's it puts you in motion, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for nurses or professionals who want to pivot, create or lead, but still feel stuck?
Yeah, I think that it's just important to be very clear on what exactly you want to do. Are you wanting to start a business? Are you wanting to create a product? What is it that you want to do? And also, who do you want to help? Like Auntie's helping nurses who are burnt out. Who do you want to help? And just getting very clear on who you're helping and what you want to do. And for me, I like the idea of starting something online, whether it's, social media or building, coaching and mentorship or consulting. I like the idea of doing something online because it gives you the freedom to do it wherever you want. And so I think that the first thing is just to like be very clear on what exactly you want to do, make some goals, and figure out who you want to help, and figure out the avenue to how you're going to get there. Whether it's something online, whether it's there's many different things you can do, but I would just say get clear first.
Yeah. So, Michael, when I introduced you, we talked about your book. This book, I read it in, I don't even know. I started reading it and I couldn't drop it. So I
Thank.
was inspired. And it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon right now.
Yeah. Is it just audio? Does it have like hardcover?
So it's a paperback, and it
Mhm.
also has you can get it on Kindle. So it's a
Yeah, I
digital
think that's what
copy.
I read it on Kindle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no audiobook yet, but I actually plan to record an audiobook soon, so we'll see.
Wow. I mean, when I started reading the book, I couldn't drop it. I couldn't drop it. I just had to finish it. And then, when you were in pharmacy school, you started this podcast, right?
Yeah, yeah. So a day in the life of Augie. Really, I started it, as you can see, it says established in 2020. During the COVID lockdown, everybody was locked down in their house. We couldn't go to class or go to work. And I was just like, I want to be able to still connect and talk to people, even, while we're all locked down. So I just started a podcast really as just like a joke, and it turned into something that I started recording every week, and I've recorded so many episodes, and it was supposed to be just a casual podcast where I just talked about things I learned in my life, in lessons, but then it turned into a kind of like a spiritual podcast where I started sharing the word of God. And so anyways, yeah, if you want to hear more, you can subscribe on podcasts or Spotify.
That's right. I mean, I always enjoy listening to your inspirational sessions, on that podcast. And then boom, this one, from
Yeah.
D to MD. Oh my goodness. This one
Yeah,
inspires me too.
thank you, Auntie. Yeah, so this one, when I decided I was gonna go back to medical school after working as a pharmacist, I told myself that if I got into medical school, that I was going to make an effort to document the journey. Simply because when I first decided I wanted to go to medical school as a pharmacist, I wanted some inspiration from other people.
That's right.
And when I went to YouTube, I didn't really see much on YouTube from or people going from PharmD to MD. So when I saw that, I realized like when I get in, I want to be that inspiration for other people. And since then, I've had so many pharmacists reach out to me, whether it's on social media or anything, telling me how my story has inspired them. And I've been able to be an inspiration to many people since I started posting these videos. So
Wow. Michael, I am so honored to have you as the first person on this show. I'm telling you, I mean, you don't even know how much you inspired me. So if I will tell you what, or ask you rather, what final word or what message do you want to leave with nurses or anyone listening today that is still thinking about themselves?
Yeah, I think that if I could leave you, anyone listening to this, any nurse, I want to kind of reignite your dreams that you've had. I would say that, you came into nursing with this big dream of helping people and being financially free. And I want to let you know that even if you feel like that is impossible, that it is possible. The life that you've envisioned is possible. And I want to encourage you to not let that dream die, but to resurrect that dream in your heart, and let these podcasts inspire you. And when you're going to see a lot of different guests on here,
Yeah.
sharing their stories. I want these to inspire you, and just like Auntie said, Dr. Chichi, she's going to inspire you to take that leap, and you're going to have dreams and reignited passions that come up. And I want to encourage you to take those leaps, and I promise you it will work out, and you will be happy that you did it.
Amazing. Michael, you know, after this show, a lot of people will be calling you, right?
I
They're
mean,
gonna they're gonna try to find you. So you better leave your link. So what link do you want to share with us?
I mean, really, you can just find me on Instagram or on social media. My Instagram is at Michael C. Ogbonna, Ogbonna. That's on Instagram. Or you can email me. My email is M as in Michael, C as in cat, and then my last name, Ogbonna @gmail.com. And so, I'm pretty easy to find on social media. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer them.
That's good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that, Michael. You don't even know how much I appreciate this moment.
No problem. I'm honored to be the first guest, and I know this is going to be a great podcast that inspires.
That's right. Yep. God is in control because I love God, so I talk about God too. So I'll say
Amen.
God is in control.
Amen. He is in control, and
Yes.
he's going to help every person.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so my reflection for today will be, who has spoken life into your dream? What vision have you been holding inside? So, if fear wasn't in your way, what would you start today? Okay? Journal or message your answer to Take Charge with Dr. Chichi at gmail.com. Take Charge with Dr. Chichi at gmail.com. So thank you so much, Dr. Michael Ogbonna. Subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Okay? Email me at takecharge at drchichi at gmail.com. So second episode, we're going to have Dr. Verida Henderson. She's my accountability partner, my mentor. I call her my sister from another mother. She'll be sharing her burnout recovery journey and her powerful advice for nurses during the show. So that wraps up that wraps up today's conversation on Take Charge with Dr. Chichi, how it all began. Time for a breakthrough. I hope this episode gave you insight, inspiration, or at least a moment to feel seen in your own nursing journey. Please share it with a fellow nurse or fellow nurses, and then leave a review and subscribe so that you don't miss further episodes. What resonates with you most? If you're a nurse or a healthcare professional and you want to share your burnout story and how you took your life back, if you want more information on how to take charge financially, send your message to takechargewithdrchichi@gmail.com. And remember, you are more than your job title. You deserve financial security, work-life balance, and a career that fulfills you, not just drains you. Until next time, take care and keep advocating for yourself as much as you do for your patients. Bye for now. See you on the next episode. Bye.
With Dr. Chichi is a brand of Sparkling Star Development Strategies LLC. The information provided is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or medical advice. Financial services are offered independently by Dr. Chichi in accordance with applicable licensing and regulatory standards. Thank you for watching.